check, check.
Let me ask you something. How much of your life do you actually control? Your job, your income, your future? Because the truth is, you don't control any of it. Not because you can't, but because the system was designed to keep you dependent, distracted, and too busy, fighting over crumbs to see the big picture. You see, everything is controlled. Your economy, rigged. Your freedom, conditional. Your reality, absolutely manufactured. And it's all connected. Trade wars, tariffs, global manipulation, they aren't random, they're tools of control. Today I'm going to show you exactly how the system works, who's pulling the strings, and most importantly, how to break free. You see, the world isn't run by governments. It's run by leverage. You think tariffs are just about trade? Wrong. They're a weapon. They're used to punish, control, and force nations to comply.
Does this sound familiar? It should. You see, I also live in a country that imposes such harsh rules, led by a man that your very own Justin Trudeau has publicly said he admires. Oh yes, you heard me right. And that admiration, it runs deep. You see, our two countries, they are not so different if you pay close attention. Now listen, Daniel Sanam, I am just a simple farmer. I wake up, I tend my fields, I keep to myself. I do not ask too many questions. I do not speak too loudly. Why? Because here, drawing too much attention to your life can mean punishment, swift and without mercy. The iron fist of the Chinese Communist Party is always watching. I only see what the regime allows me to see. I hear what the regime approves me to hear. I have no time for television, but that is fine, because there is nothing to see outside of our borders anyway. Now, Trudeau, his relationship with the CCP, very questionable. It is as if somehow, no matter what scandal he finds himself in, China is never too far away. But let me tell you something, my friend. I have a theory about the tariffs in your country. Oh no. It is not about milk or fentanyl. It is about oil. My meager understanding as a young 45-year-old farmer chuckles softly is that when the Biden administration put a stop to the Keystone Pipeline, suddenly Canada was selling more oil to China and less to the United States. And this does not sit well with Trump. The Biden administration, weak borders, woke policies, climate change. But more importantly, they knew that to undermine Trump, they had to undo everything his campaign stood for. And now, Trudeau is caught yet again. But this time it is with China's upper management. I tell you, my friend, I think your liberal cabinet is not just weak, but compromised, infiltrated, and in the end, it is about the oil, and Trump wants it back.
The US is actually pissed because Canada started selling more oil to China. Wonder how that happened, instead of keeping it in their back pocket. So what does the US do? Threatens to slap tariffs on Canadian lumber, dairy, EV production, list goes on.
Yeah, you guys up north have always been pretty good neighbors as I see it. Hell, your milk sure makes a pretty darn good mash down here in these parts. Listen, President Trump is really working hard to try to piece our destroyed country back together, both from an economical point as well as from a strategic standpoint to better all mankind. I think we need to bear in mind that the leaders on both sides of the border have a big hill to climb, if you know what I mean. Some may see it as kinda heavy-handed from our end, but let's face it, it needs to be done, and it appears Canada isn't so neutral anymore now, is it?
It's stuck between China's influence and the US's dominance. And let's not forget about the WEF. And guess who pays the price? It's not Trudeau and it's not Trump. It's you. It's simple. They want you broke. They want you desperate. And let's face it, desperate people do not fight back, do they? But here's the best part that they do not want you to see. See, governments don't actually make these decisions. They take orders. They have a boss too. Look at the World Economic Forum. The same WEF that brags about penetrating the governments worldwide. Yep, Canada's ex-Deputy Prime Minister, Chrystia Freeland, actually sits on that board.
Nope. I don't think so, Seckert. You see, Chrystia UNC Freeland will not be holding any position of power unless she gets her country to comply and uphold the views and kiss the ring of our Führer, Klaus Schwab. She will no longer have a seat at the table in Davos until she removes her admiration from the once hopeful prodigy of Justin Trudeau, who has since fallen and proved himself to be an utter failure to us and to his country of Canada. Chrystia and Freeland now needs to prove herself to the cause of the WEF. This is no longer about Canada and its people. This is all about our agenda and the power of the globalist elites. Don't ever forget, you shall own nothing and be happy.
And again, the same people who want to reset the economy, track every transaction, and control who gets to participate in society are sitting inside our governments. So when the governments crush dissent, and when the banks freeze the accounts, and when digital IDs and financial control actually become the norm, that's not Canada's decision. That's the globalist playbook. And it's not just Canada. The US, Europe, all moving in the exact same direction. A world where you will own nothing and be grateful for it. Because if you step out of line, they turn off your access. Just ask the truckers who had their bank accounts frozen during that protest. That was not a crackdown. That was a damn clear message. But here's where it gets deeper. Because control isn't just about trade. It's about your mind up here. They don't just control economies. They control perception. They don't just manipulate the markets. They manipulate the fear. And they don't just enforce the laws. They enforce mental obedience. Every crisis you see, manufactured. The news tells you who to hate. The economy tells you who to fear. And the government tells you who to blame. And while you're busy arguing over these distractions, they're building a world where you no longer have a say in anything that matters. And you know what? This is the real war. So how do you break free? First, you got to wake the hell up. You got to question everything. Why do you believe what you believe? Who benefits from your outrage? Why are you told to comply, but the elites never do? You got to stop reacting and start observing. See, they want those emotional reactions. They want that knee-jerk anger because reactive people are very predictive people. The moment you stop playing their game, you will take their power away. I can't stress this enough. Build independence. Financial, mental, physical. The more self-sufficient you are, the less they can control you. And that's when you actually become dangerous. Because once you see the game, you stop being the pawn. So you've got two choices. You can keep playing their game, believing what you're told, reacting the way they expect, watching as the world gets smaller around you. Or you can step back, see the game for what it is, and stop participating in your own oppression. Because the only real power here is the power of your mind. And once you take that back, they lose everything. So ask yourself, are you awake or are you just another piece on their board? The choice is yours. What choice will you make? So drop a comment. What is the biggest lie you stopped believing in? And if this hits home, like and subscribe, because this conversation, just like the other ones, is just getting started.